We're calling these our biggest signing day splash schools. So let's start here with you in Arizona State. The obvious, adding Jaden Rashada, but overall, what is it about this Sun Devils day that stands out?
You're adding a top 247 talent at quarterback. Steve calls him one of the best pure passers of the football. I agree with that. He's also one of the oldest quarterbacks in the 2023 cycle. This is a guy that had his options. I thought TCU might have made the most sense for him. He ends up at Arizona State. He's going to team up with Kenny Dillingham, a bright offensive mind. We saw what he did with Bo Nix. Let's not forget, Bo Nix kind of had to resurrect his career and image when he left Auburn. A lot of people were happy to see him go, and then he shows up at Oregon, starts winning games. Jaden Rashada kind of drug through the media over the holidays with the whole LOI thing. All of his business is out there for all of us to read. Now he goes somewhere where his dad played. I think it's a huge addition. We mentioned Drew Pine, the quarterback they took from Notre Dame. I think it's a perfect type of bridge quarterback. Let Drew Pine start some games, see how Jaden Rashada works in practice. Would not be surprised if he kind of gets himself some meaningful snaps in the season as it progresses.
The youngest head coach in the Power 5 bringing in his quarterback. Excited to see what Jaden Rashada does when he teams up with Dillingham. How about we go to South Carolina? And my favorite part about this class, guys, is even before the Nyckoles Harbor commitment, it felt like this show was sponsored by the Gamecocks. I mean, we already loved this class and everything that they did. And just, Steve, that cherry on top was Harbor.
Yeah, Nyckoles Harbor, who's obviously got a potential to be one of the game-breaking pass catchers on the next level, adding to a class that includes Vicari Swain from Carrollton, Georgia, who's also, in my opinion, one of the fantastic two-way players on the high school level. Over 2,000 yards receiving in his career, 17 touchdowns, 13 career interceptions. Colorado tried to flip Vicari Swain late. So Shane Beamer and his staff put together a great haul. It's ranked number 16 nationally. That's the highest they've ever finished in 24/7 sports history. And then they had to play keep away for a lot of the cycle. But they also swung a heavy spatula. They went out and flipped, in my opinion, one of my favorite quarterbacks in the cycle, Lenoris Sellers, who had a fantastic senior season. At one point was committed to Syracuse from in-state. South Carolina kept tabs on him, and in the midst of a great senior year where he threw for 3,000 yards, rushed for 1,000 yards, had 62 total touchdowns combined, and only turned the ball over twice. South Carolina lands him, and to go to find those 11 wins that they did, I think from 2012 to 2014, you got to have the guy under center, and I think Lenoris Sellers can be that guy. And then we've talked about it all day. They've recruited at the point of attack on both sides of the ball at an extremely high level. Really good offensive line class led by Tree Babalati and Marquis Anderson. And then on the defensive side, they got some real pretty guys, some pass rushers like Montague Rames. And so I think the arrow's up on South Carolina here with this recruiting class. And in 2024, we might see them ranked extremely high real soon. I think they got a big February on tap on the trail as they court maybe one of the best offensive lines in the country yet again in 2024.
All right, so I've got to ask you this. They landed the big fish, the 6th highest ranked prospect in South Carolina recruiting history. What are your early impressions of Shane Beamer on the trail?
Well, I mean, I think he's as aggressive a head coach as you're going to find in the country. I think that he takes his job as the spokesman of the program very serious when they recruit top targets. When you talk to the kids that South Carolina is recruiting, he has a presence with their priority recruits. And he's a tremendous ambassador for South Carolina. He loves Columbia. He loves where he just has a lot of pride in the university and believes that they can rebuild it into an SEC championship contender. And it resonates with their recruits on the trail. It resonates with the people in the building when they go out and recruit. There's just such enthusiasm and excitement around this program, and it certainly doesn't hurt to beat Tennessee and beat Clemson at the end of the year. That's also providing major momentum down the stretch here for South Carolina and bleeding into the beginning of 2024.
All about that momentum. All right, our final class here we want to highlight is Mississippi State, obviously dealing with the devastating loss of Mike Leach. Zach Arnett steps in, very difficult job for him to recoup this entire signing class, but it sounds like those guys really use this as a galvanizing effect to stick together, to come to Mississippi State and to live up to the high expectations set by the Pirate. But why are they a winner today, Andrew?
Well, Emily, we woke up and there's 5% of the player pool unsigned. I mean, there wasn't a ton of names out there, and Mississippi State goes out and does win 2 battles. They get Jonathan Davis, an in-state defensive lineman, late riser, big framed individual. Texas was kicking the tires there. I know Ole Miss kind of felt good last night night. They get him in the class. That's a win over your rival. It's a point of attack player there in the trenches, so that's a big pickup. And then Will James, another late bloomer cornerback, had a great senior season, was a one-time committed to Southern Miss. I like this Mississippi State class as a whole. That's kind of, cherry on top for them. Again, not a lot of people added multiple players. Mississippi State found a way under a first-year head coach who's making a transition, making some difficult decisions in terms of how he assembles his staff. So you got to like what they're doing in Starkville. Nice little signing day for them.
Steve, how do you evaluate this Mississippi State class?
Well, I think when you look at it, I see 3 future pros right off the bat in the secondary. I think Isaac Smith is one of the best two-way players in the country, 823 yards rushing, 652 yards receiving, 18 touchdowns, picked off 9 passes, and had another interception in the Under Armour All-America game. And then I think that you look at the receivers there that they landed. They flipped Creed Whitmore from the University of Florida. I think that he'll be an excellent combination with Justin Brown from the state of Tennessee. Seth Davis is a running back that rushed for over 2,500 yards and 47 touchdowns there, 34 touchdowns for Katie High, a powerhouse. But back to the secondary, Kelly Jones and Bryce Pollock are a safety corner combination that I really like as well. I think that this is a very interesting recruiting class that'll make Mississippi State very competitive in the SEC.